Okay, so let's talk about how a single software company made one pricing change that sent absolute shockwaves through the entire global logistics industry. We're going to break down how one company's decision could have such a massive impact, why they did it, and what it might mean for the future of global trade.
To really get why this was such a big deal, you have to understand the landscape. In the world of logistics software, one company, CargoWise, is just completely dominant. According to the Journal of Commerce, it has a staggering 70% of the forwarding software market. I mean, when a player that big makes a move, the whole industry feels the tremors.
So here's how we're going to break this all down. We'll start with a blueprint for the change, then look at WiseTech's official reasoning, their schematic, if you will. After that, we'll dive into the intense customer backlash, the alternatives that popped up, and finally, what the market, Wall Street, had to say about it all. So, on December 1st, 2025, WiseTech Global, the company behind CargoWise, just rolled out a brand new pricing model. And look, this was not some minor tweak. It was a complete system overhaul for 95% of its customers. It basically ended a decade-long standard for how logistics companies paid for their most critical software. And what's really wild is how fast this all happened. The old model, the seat and transaction license, or STL, where you basically paid per user, had been the standard since 2014. Then, on Halloween of 2025, users get this notification about a change, and just 1 month later, boom, the new model is live. It was incredibly rapid and decisive.
So what was WiseTech's official story here? Why make such a massive shift? Well, they framed it as a move towards simplicity and, value.
The whole idea was, let's just scrap the old model completely. Gone were the per-user fees, all the separate charges for different features, the cloud hosting costs, all of it. In its place, a single fee for every single transaction. The pitch was pretty simple. Pay for what you move, not for how many people are on your team.
Now this brings us to the most controversial part of the whole plan, the CargoWise automation fee. And this wasn't just a new charge. Oh no, WiseTech actually designed the system to automatically add this fee to their customers' invoices. The expectation was that freight forwarders wouldn't pay this cost themselves, but would just pass it directly to their clients, kind of like a customs duty or report fee.
So, in exchange for this brand new model, the company's pitch was all about immense value. Suddenly, customers had access to over 216 modules, unlimited users, all the AI features, and even free training. It was this bundled, all-you-can-eat approach, and it was meant to justify the new transaction-based price.
Okay, so that's the clean corporate schematic, right? But how did it actually translate to the real world? Well, for the freight forwarders actually using the software, the reaction was immediate and it was intense.
The response was immediate and totally unfiltered. This quote from a Reddit user just captures the feeling perfectly. So many people felt like their software vendor was just massively overstepping its role, inserting itself directly into their billing relationship with their own customers. The industry press even called it a level of agitation rarely seen around a software update.
And, despite that promise of simplification, the reality for a lot of users was a huge hit to their bottom line. The Journal of Commerce reported that forwarders were seeing their software costs jump by a staggering 20 to 50%, pretty much overnight.
And if you look at the total cost of ownership over 3 years, it really puts it all into perspective. For an average mid-market forwarder, the cost just leaped from around $650,000 to nearly $880,000. This wasn't a small adjustment. It was a massive increase in a major operational cost. And that core assumption from WiseTech, that this fee could be easily passed on, it just crashed headfirst into reality. Forwarders were saying, look, telling a client I'm passing on a customs duty is one thing, but telling them I'm adding a line item for my own software bill, that's a much, much harder conversation, and one that a lot of contracts and relationships just couldn't handle.
So all of this widespread frustration created this huge opening in the market. For the first time in years, all these alternative software providers saw a real opportunity to go after frustrated CargoWise users.
And this table shows you the stark contrast. Competitors like FreightView and Carton Cloud started getting serious attention because they were highlighting the very thing CargoWise had just thrown out: simple, predictable pricing. This disruption gave them a massive marketing tool. And while they might not have the all-in-one power of CargoWise, they offered a clear, compelling alternative to the complexity and sticker shock of the new model. It suddenly made them a viable option for companies that were feeling trapped.
But here's the twist. While customers and competitors were all scrambling on the ground, the financial markets, they had a very different perspective. For Wall Street, this wasn't a story about customer frustration. It was a story about pricing power.
Analysts saw the whole thing as a masterstroke. The broker Jefferies estimated the new pricing would create a 6% revenue uplift for WiseTech in the coming fiscal years. The company's share price surged. The market didn't see a customer service crisis, it saw a dominant company successfully flexing its muscles.
And this quote from Morningstar really explains why. The market's view was that WiseTech has what's called a wide moat. They basically believe its customers are trapped because CargoWise is so deeply woven into their daily operations and because there are so few, if any, alternatives with that same comprehensive power. Switching just isn't a realistic option for most of them.
So this leaves us with this huge, provocative question. Has CargoWise pioneered a brilliant new model that really does align price with value? Or is this a high-stakes gamble with a captive market, a move that could permanently alienate the very industry it was built to serve? I guess only time will tell.